Mark Drury.
BBC T Sport.
Now, does your son or daughter go to one of the ever-growing number of football academies operated by former professional footballers? Well, I've been taking a look at the development of what appears to be a new growth industry in football. Time was when, on retiring, footballers would go into management or open a pub. But the old ways have steadily changed over the past 30 years, and the latest growth industry is for ex-players to open their own coaching academy. But what are these academies, and how do they fit into the existing local football structure? Well, I've been trying to find out.
My name's Andy Collett, and I am the owner, director, head goalkeeper coach at Premier Play Football Academy. I'd say it's about 3 years since we initially started. When we first opened, it was literally pay £5, come, turn up and train. We had mixed abilities. We had good numbers, to be fair, but what we found was that we needed to set the sessions so that the weakest player was stimulated as well as the strongest player, and it was very difficult when you've got such a broad range of abilities. So we changed the format. It's now a selection process. We've got different academies for different abilities, and we run it that way now, and it seems to be working well.
So why did you think that this was something worth doing? What was the gap in the market that you spotted?
I'd come out of professional football, and even when I was a young goalkeeper, there wasn't much specific goalkeeper training. Obviously, in junior football, you've got 12 outfield players and one goalkeeper senior squad, and the priority lies with the outfielders. So I was always doing a little bit of coaching on the side, and then I spoke to Neil Maddison, who was, I think he was assistant manager at Darlington at the time, and I just said, look, Neil, this is my idea, do you want to come on board? I think there's a potential market for more specialised or more professional coaching of guys with sort of a background in playing, and also qualified. And Neil came on board, and then it's for some players it's bridging the gap. It's wanting to. Some players want to be in professional academy systems, so we have sessions that sort of suit that ability player. But we've also got, everyone loves football. We've also got sessions that are tailored for your grassroots player, your TGFA Division 4, Division 5 that still love football, but probably don't spend enough time on the basics. So we have sessions for those as well. We have all different levels. Ultimately, as a parent, you want your son to receive good coaching if possible, and we've got the different levels to do that. We've got the coaches. I think our coaches, although they're all high qualified, Mark Proctor's pro licensed coach and Matt Ozier licensed, Sam Air licensed. I think one of the biggest things with our coaches is that the personalities. They're great whether they're dealing with sort of Mark Proctor working with the first team at the Borough, or whether he's training with a sort of 5-year-old in our mini pro session. The way he puts the information across and the way he makes the player feel really brings out the best in them, and I think our coaches are very good at that, and I think it shows in the fact that, one, the players are improving and they're enjoying it, and as long as they come and enjoy it, 100% certain they'll improve.
You mentioned the Teesside Junior Football Alliance there, and obviously, Mark Proctor is a professional coach with Middlesbrough, and you were with York and Darlington in the past. How does your academy fit into the existing junior football structure and senior football as well?
Well, I don't know about fit in. I think what we do is we don't have any teams. I think, junior players need to be playing in the junior clubs, and they love it. They go on a weekend, they love the environment of training with the friends. The parents love the environment, and I think not an issue. But if, for say, the stronger players, if, say, for instance, Middlesbrough or Sunderland, Newcastle want to approach them, then they have to come out of that system, and they have to go into an academy system at the Middlesbrough, and that's fantastic for some of them, and it'll be perfect for others. The parents don't want them to maybe go into that professional system so young. So our sort of pro level, we actively promote that fact that we are sort of twofold, really, that we're academy standard coaching, but you can stay with your junior clubs. Ultimately, if we're doing our job right, the players will improve and they will move up, hopefully, and like I said, for some it'll be the stepping stone towards them getting into the pro clubs, and we wish all of them all the best. For others, as I said, it's more the professional standard coaching. But while they're young, certainly very young, maybe sort of 8, 9, 10, or even lower nowadays, I personally think that that they should be staying and training in the TGFA for as long as they can, because we all know how hard it is to become a footballer. And if you go into the academy systems, at some point, hopefully, none of them will, get rejected. But it does happen, and I think the rejection is very, very hard to take when you're, 8 or 9 year old. And me as a parent and me being a former player, I think that's something that I'm not too sure about really. I think, unfortunately, everyone's looking for the next Lionel Messi. Certainly, professional clubs are, or the next, Stuart Downing, for instance. And the younger that can get them in the system, the better. Whether it's a right thing or a wrong thing, I don't know. But we, like I said, we work heavily and very closely with the TGFA. I think the grassroots clubs are very open to us now. We go out and we deliver free sessions. All the coaches are doing it, and they want to learn. And I think to learn off someone like Mark, with his experience and the manner in which he puts things across, can only benefit us. Me and Mark, certainly Neil as well, we all played in the TGFA.
Most of us grew up dreaming of being professional footballers. This man helps the best of them along the way.
Dave Parnaby, Academy Manager at Middlesbrough Football Club.
Dave, you are the professional side of academies. How would you describe, to somebody who doesn't know what an academy at a football club is, how would you best describe it?
It's an educational establishment to enhance learning, basically, and our learning is about enhancing learning on the football field. And I think if you put it in educational terms, the same applies there, but enhancing in academic terms. So that's my simple definition of what an academy is all about.
And also the entry point for young footballers to professional football?
Yeah, well, we're almost at the maternity wards now. We're nearly sort of grabbing them as they come out of the maternity wards. But no, we have a pre-academy setup, which within that we have long-standing agreements with a number of people that bring lots and lots of children in. And those environments are viewed by our coaching staff and recruitment staff. And that leads to what we call an elite group at our under-8s. But that group of under-8s is quite large. And that's the forerunner for the registration. The registrations at the academy starts at under-9. So that's our first registration. And then they complete 1 year registrations up to the age of 12. And then 2 at 13 and 2 at 15.
Now, you oversee the whole thing, and you've had to build it up from scratch, haven't you, in recent years? How much of that process involved talking to existing local football clubs and local leagues about their players?
Yeah, I remember the day, Mark, when 1998 came around. I was in, and it was new. It was pre-1998. Professional clubs only had 1 hour a week access to all the boys. And even then, that was restricted to under 14s and above. So the FA made a bold statement with a blueprint of the Charter for Quality, and it changed everybody's viewing on it. And those who were already in existing programmes found it somewhat daunting and threatening. But over a period of time, we've ironed out many issues. And I've always said that we're so fortunate in the northeast of England that we've got thriving, vibrant football environments like the Teesside Junior Alliance, and they're our supply line. They nurture and develop at a very, very early ages. But like I said earlier, we're actually recruiting very, very early now to ensure that we're ahead of the game. But in the early stages, yes, we were in conversation, communication with lots and lots of different bodies. The schools were threatened because the English Schools FA national setup, which I was part of, came under the umbrella of the FA at that point. So all that was change and difficult times, but I think we're much smoother now. We're much more understanding at all levels of the game of what we're actually trying to achieve in player development.
So how do you view the relatively recent growth of, I don't know how you term them, probably independent football academies? That ex-players have come out of the game, out of coaching, and have started privately.
Yeah, and the private thing is about business and enterprise, and there's nothing wrong with business and enterprise. And some of them being very, very successful in our area. The business side of things, that's people's individual choice and enterprise and how they develop their own product, as it were. From a football perspective, from my job perspective, I think that it's another avenue for children to follow, to participate in the game of football, and to be coached by one of their father's ex-heroes or their own heroes can only be another positive thing. And another spin-off will be actually to fall in love with the game and possibly fall in love with their local clubs, and hopefully more fall in love with Middlesbrough than Newcastle or Sunderland, because the more fans we can get, the better. But can only be beneficial, I think, for in a wider sense of the meaning of academies and these local entrepreneurish sort of enterprises, and hopefully part of that byproduct of those setups can come down to the academies.
Andy Collett says that when he started his own academy, he could never have imagined it would become his full-time job.
No, it was something that I would have obviously liked to happen. Professional football again is fantastic, and I've been involved in that since I was 19. Spent the last 12 years as a coach. I worked the last 2 years at York City, and it's brilliant. But unfortunately, I think with professional football, you're only 8 games away from the sack. You're only as good as your manager and the players that you recruit. And I have been in and out of work, and I've been lucky enough to sort of work locally, which has allowed me to continue and focus on Premier play. Obviously, York, I was driving in a morning, and before that, I worked at Hartlepool. So it's allowed me to concentrate on developing the company, recruiting coaches, and making sure that I'm there. I mean, there's not many sessions when I'm not there, and that just sort of makes sure that you keep your eye on the ball. And now I'm in a position where I think if a professional football club, a professional club, has approached me recently, and I'm in a position where I can't really take the job, and that's a brilliant position to be in. I mean, I know, like I said, match days, I'll start to miss it now because it's been a few years since I've been out of football. But when I leave my house at sort of 3 o'clock, coming down to Premier, can't wait to get started. I can't wait to see the coaches, can't wait to see the players, the goalkeepers, and it certainly beats working for a living.
What about competition? Because you're not the only academy around, and there are more and more of them springing up. How do you feel about the market as a whole? Do you think there is the room for the growth in academies that we're starting to see?
Yeah, I think professional coaching is absolutely fantastic for kids' development, and I think there's plenty of kids out there, and I think they should experience as much coaching as they can. I'm not one that would say, if you come to us, we don't want you going anywhere else. I would say to all our parents, go and get as much good coaching as you can, because ultimately that'll benefit their children. And if they come to us, if they go to somewhere else, that does not make a difference to me. We just concentrate on what we deliver when they're here, and if what we deliver is good, they'll continue to come and we'll continue to grow. And as I said, I don't need to be protective over kids. I want all kids to improve, and if that means going to 4 or 5 other specific football coaching companies in the area, so be it. It's as I said, they should experience as much coaching as possible, because ultimately that's going to improve them as players.